Let's go. Gared on the go time, our Walt Disney World reporter, live from Epcot to bring us all the Walt Disney World news. Gared, Hassel, what's going on in that world of Disney out in Orlando?
First, you may have not, if you made it or may not have known, next year is Disney World's 50th anniversary. And with that, it is the golden anniversary. And the Imagineers have already repainted Cinderella Castle a rose gold. Well, it's about to get a matching pair of shoes because the Magic Kingdom toll plaza, or the toll station, is going to be getting a makeover as well. There have been Imagineers out there looking at different schematics and drawings, and it looks like it's going to be getting some sort of decoration and color change that will better match the castle. I'm looking forward to it. You can definitely expect there to be rose gold in there because, well, that's Disney World's big color. Rose gold, everything. Rose gold hair, makeup, teeth, jewelry, everything rose gold.
Rose gold like crazy. Oh my gosh. And, I know that color tends to rub people the wrong way, and it all depends on how you see it and the way you feel about it. Gared, you being in Magic Kingdom recently, you came across the castle and you saw it up close and personal for yourself for the first time, as you had been away from Orlando during most of the quarantine period and have only just recently returned. Your personal feelings when it comes to that rose gold color and it being applied to the castle of all things.
So pictures that you see of it do not do it justice at all. When you're in person and you have the sun shining on it, it looks phenomenal. It makes it pop. It adds a lot of color to Main Street, especially the castle hub right there. If like before you used to look at it, and if it was a cloudy day, oftentimes it could blend in with the clouds, but that rose gold, it looks spectacular. And not only that, it's got rose gold for like pretty much the walls, but then they have little accent pieces of solid gold. And then the roofs have a very, I would say, cerulean or sapphire blue color to them. It's very similar to what you would see with a Sleeping Beauty castle at Disneyland. But overall, I like it. Pictures don't do it enough justice though, so you'll have to come out and see it yourself. But it looks amazing, and due to everything going on in the world, there's not that many people standing in front of it getting pictures, so you could have a full-on photo shoot, and the chance of you actually having someone else in your shot is slim to none. I've noticed that.
That is a nice plus to be sure. Producer Kurt, have you seen videos or photos of, because I know you haven't been out there, have you seen videos or photos of Cinderella Castle in its new rose gold form?
I have, yes.
And what is your take on that color?
I mean, I like it. It reminds me too much of Disneyland a bit, but, and I like that Disney World was its own kind of unique perspective of that. So I would prefer it to be like a little bit more different, but it is a good color. I mean, I like the color, and I just need to go back to Disney World. Basically, I need to see it in person.
And then the depression sits in.
Yeah. I think it would be better if I was there visually watching it. Maybe a couple rides and something to eat and everything else there as well. But
well, I got to say that during my recent trip to Walt Disney World, I got to see it for myself. Seeing it in person is very different than seeing photos and videos of it, mainly because it all depends on the time of day, believe it or not. At least I found that. When you walk in during certain points throughout the day in and around the castle area, the castle looks very different than it might if you were to maybe see it during, a high noon or just first thing in the morning or at night. It's one of those things that, like, throughout the day, it kind of looks a little different. And, for a castle that's so iconic to look sort of different throughout the day based on rose gold coloring, I think it's kind of remarkable. It definitely looked a lot better to me in person. And, Gared, would you sort of subscribe to that idea that it kind of looks different throughout the day based on where the sun is?
It definitely does, Wade. I've noticed that in the morning, it has a very warm effect to it, like a sunset. And then as the day goes by, it grows brighter and brighter and brighter into this less of a rose gold and more of just like a warm pink color. So I really like how it changes with the day. At nighttime, I've noticed that when I drive through there at night and they are doing like lighting tests on it, you can't even notice it because they can change the color of the castle based on projections. So when I drive by, it looks like the old Cinderella Castle with it just being white and gold with the blue accents. So yeah, during the day is definitely the time to see the castle. At night, I'm really wondering what it will look like when it comes to fireworks when those do come back, because fireworks can really make or break a castle or a key landmark for a Disney park.
Absolutely. And so now to get that sort of overhaul done to the iconic Magic Kingdom Toll Plaza entranceway, and to know that that's going to be beginning soon. I mean, we just kind of assume, I guess, that it's going to be rose gold coloring on that. Also, there was a time where, that whole sort of Toll Plaza entry area was painted a very bright pink. It was painted sort of this almost like salmon looking color in some degrees. And then, a little darker, a little lighter, depending on, the foreground and the lettering. So a very interesting setup that they are probably going to go back to, away from blue, which is what it is now, and more so in the direction of the pink. So very interesting to say the least. And I'm thinking that there's probably a lot more to come in terms of cosmetic upgrades at Walt Disney World. When it comes to the news, when it comes to more of our top stories out east, Gared, what else is happening?
All right, so this is, well, it's either going to be exciting or it's going to be heartbreaking for you, depending on how much you love it. So Disney's Polynesian Village Resort, or the Poly for short, is going to be getting a dramatic makeover coming forward. As you can see from that image there, there's going to be a whole new entranceway there, the porte cochere where cars pull in, the entranceway, even, just the main lobby, it's going to be getting makeover, and the rooms, they're getting the major makeover, which is going to have more of a South Seas / Moana look. That's what Imagineers have been saying. So there are some people who are very against it, where they're saying, like, it's not the Polynesian, it's going to be a Moana resort. But remember, Moana takes a lot of inspiration from all the different Polynesian islands out there, whether it's Fiji, Tahiti, Hawaii, Samoa. Like, there's just so much inspiration for the Polynesian Village. And I'm truly looking forward to it, because even though I've never had the chance to stay there, it's a place that I frequent, whether it's I want to Dole Whip in the afternoon, I want to, just take go resort hopping rather than going to the park. So I'm looking forward to it. So when the rooms do get that overall makeover, I probably will be checking in there to see if I feel more of a Polynesian feel to it, or if it feels like I'm stuck in a Moana film.
And yet again, another thing that sort of is dividing theme park fans, that whole idea of like Moana creeping into the Polynesian and taking over certain rooms. I got to say, due to the concept art that we just saw, at least what Disney has released so far, in terms of how the Great Ceremonial House and the lobby is going to be looking, that looks fantastic to me. The lobby itself, it got sort of ripped out and redone a couple years back, and we've talked about that on this show before. I think pretty cool to see the whole sort of exterior of the front of the lobby sort of get that love, and it'll be interesting to see just how things change in the lobby itself, because I know that it is a resort that has an awful lot of history to it. It is very much a location that I think for people that have been visiting Walt Disney World since the dawning days, this resort is one of those first resorts that came online, back when Walt Disney World first opened. So it carries a lot of history to it. It's definitely a location that I know, Disney diehards don't want to see anything happen to it that's going to, besmirch the memory of it or hurt the overall integrity of it. But I think based on the concept art that we're seeing, it looks like an improvement overall. So we'll definitely see what's in store when the Imagineers move in and start to do this. I think what's really interesting here, though, Gared and Kurt, is like, this is a situation where they're obviously about to spend some big money to come in and touch things up in a time where they're cutting budgets across the board, and they're getting very, Disney is sort of stringent when it comes to the purse strings, and they don't want to see expenditures that they don't necessarily need, and they're only focusing on a few key projects. This one kind of got snuck in at the last minute, and now is suddenly something that they are going to be focused on after all. Kurt, what do you make of that? I think it's a little interesting that this thing is getting some money when in reality, it's a cosmetic project. It doesn't necessarily have to be done.
Well, I think everyone's hopeful that things are going to get back to normal here really soon. Mm-hmm. And we are preparing for that particular eventuality. Because at some point, things have to go back to the way it is. We either adapt to this or we get past this. And it's weird that, again, that they're affecting the poly that someone has, they do have a lot of cherishing, but you got to think also, Disney doesn't like to stay the way it is all the time. They want to move forward. They want to change things. Yeah. I can't recall of anything it's been the same since I grew up. You know, they've always changed things. I mean, they're changing Snow White over here at Disneyland after so long.
Right.
It just, we need to move forward.
Keep moving forward.
Keep moving forward, like the Meet the Robinson says. Keep moving forward.
And they quote that from Walt Disney himself.
Exactly.
That's right. Gared, you looking forward to this overhaul? I won't call it a complete overhaul, but basically a touch up and some cosmetic action of the Polynesian.
Oh, I am very excited. At first, when I heard the news, I was kind of like, wait, it needs a makeover? But then when I've seen aerial shots of it now versus what they predicted will look like, it was night and day for me, because I didn't realize how the grand ceremonial house, because people typically only look at it from once you're inside, you look up and you see all the decorations, but the outside of it, it looks like a resort I would go to if I went to Hawaii or I went to some Polynesian island. It looks phenomenal. I'm in the same boat as Kurt, where, you know, as long as, I'm going to quote Walt, as long as there's imagination left in the world, Disneyland, we're going to parenthesize, Disney will
plus
never
world,
be complete.
yeah.
So yeah, Disney World. But I'm very excited for it. I think it's going to look great. I hope that they keep what works and they get rid of what doesn't work. But overall, I'm looking forward to it. And I think Disney's being very optimistic, thinking, you know what, the 50th anniversary is coming. We have to show some sense of normalcy. Let's give something to look forward to rather than doing little things. Let's sneak in a little project and brighten everyone up, like the Hawaiian sun, like Maui pulling the sun out of the ocean, or mountains out of the ocean. He's doing something with the sun and a hook.
Whatever it is, sun, mountain, wind, rain, earth, Captain Planet. That's what it's all about. And keep in mind that the Great Ceremonial House, that lobby area, it is going to be, it sounds like, worked on through the night. So Sunday nights through Thursday nights from 10 p.m. to 4:30 a.m. beginning on October the 4th. So that will have some impact to the guest experience a little bit, but for the most part, being done in the late night hours. So at least there's that. Gared, what else is happening out east? It sounds like there's some new restaurants right where you are that are coming back online, or I should say some old restaurants that are returning.
Yeah, so just, you know, a hop and a skip away over in good old France, they're going to be reopening Chefs de France very, very soon, which is exciting for me, because I believe a few months back when we did like our top 3 Epcot restaurants, I'm pretty sure that was in my top 3. I don't remember which number, but it's in there, and I'm looking forward to it, because just walking by and not seeing any life in there, it's a little saddening, because France is a very colorful place and it's known for its immaculate food. And when Chef de France is not open, it's just a little sad. So I'll definitely be going there and getting some delicious, you know, I like the croque monsieur. I like their lunch. You get a croque monsieur, which is pretty much a glorified grilled ham and cheese with more melted cheese on top. You get a nice little salad, some frites, which is French for fries, and a little aubergine, and you just have a great time. And then you're fluent in French for about 3 seconds.
And yeah, you can book those reservations now for October the 8th. So very cool to hear that. And anything else in terms of big stories out east? I understand something just happened this week. In fact, just a day or so ago of this broadcast date.
Yes, absolutely. So a few days ago, Governor DeSantis, the governor of Florida, he announced that Florida is now in phase 3, which, if you don't know what phase 3 means, originally it was restaurants and bars can now operate at 75%. However, that has been altered, saying that places can now pretty much operate at 100%, as long as, remember, this does not directly, well, it affects everything in Florida, but Disney is in its own separate little bubble, literally, because Disney, being the powerhouse that it is, it can use all 100% free restrictions, but Disney's never done that. Disney's implemented its own rules to put safety as the frontmost thing. Like, they could easily have let in, you know, I guess, like, they could have had the parks operate at 50%, but they chose not to, because they want to make sure the guests are safe, because Disney has some important keys that they follow, and the first key is safety. So I believe that even though that Governor DeSantis has lifted restrictions, Disney might let up a little bit, but it's not going to be, you know, back to what it was come February. It's still going to have restrictions involved.
And as of right now, this does allow, and we need to make it very clear that the theme park areas and theme parks in general within Florida, we're not necessarily under any sort of mandate to do anything by the state government throughout the health code issuance and throughout all of the new sort of rules and regulations that came about due to the pandemic. So the theme parks have been doing everything that you have seen them do voluntarily. These are their own steps. So that's something that's really important to understand here. That's something that's really, I think, important to grasp, is that the theme parks have been doing all of these things on their own to begin with. So it hasn't been state enforced. It hasn't been state mandated. It's all been something that they themselves have implemented, which goes to kind of showcase, I think, the importance of just what, you know, Disney has gone to accomplish and create and pull off, just to make you feel safe, just to make you feel comfortable and like you are in a good place, and that, you know, you can come have fun and feel safe all in this environment, and you don't have to necessarily worry about any social distancing rules. You don't have to worry about this virus that is just wreaking havoc all over the place. So great news on that front. I know that the Orange County mayor is making a statement currently as we speak, all about the findings of this executive order and how their legal team in the county is looking at it. But as of right now, he is reiterating, the county mayor is reiterating that masks are mandated still, that they are there to stay, and that they are requiring those things to still be in effect for the sake of comfort and safety across the county. So there's that to consider if you're willing to make your Walt Disney World vacation, you're going to make that Walt Disney World trip. They are still enforcing these rules. Disney has not made a statement very clearly that they are changing anything. Gared, when it comes to crowd levels out there at Epcot today, it is a weekend as of this filming. So what do you see? I mean, does it seem busy to you? Does it seem like more capacity has been added?
Epcot is one of the larger parks out here, just behind, Animal Kingdom, and the walkways are very wide. So even if it was packed here, you still have plenty of room. And all the times I've gone here, I've never felt crowded here. And overall, Epcot is probably the safest park to go to when it comes to crowds. Probably the worst of the parks when it comes to crowds and enforcing social distancing, it's going to be Hollywood Studios, just because it's the smallest park. There's a lot of tiny, narrow walkways, and everyone rushing to get into Star Wars Land and Toy Story Land definitely makes it a lot worse. When I was there a few days ago, I felt a little nervous in some areas, but here at Epcot, I feel completely safe. And I know that I'm going to have my space, as well as the other guests are going to have their space. The World Showcase alone, that you might have someone 20 feet away and you're good to go. So Epcot is safe even on a weekend. So if you want to come someplace where you're going to avoid crowds, Epcot's the place to do it, Wade.
Gared, very grateful to have had you with us out there in Epcot today. I also understand that the Norway Bakery has reopened as of today with a limited menu. You'll have to swing on by and grab yourself some school bread, assuming that that's on the menu.
Would you like some as well, Kurt? Would Christian even? Would any of you like some delicious Norwegian treats? I would be happy to get you some.
I would love some. If you can express mail that out to me same day, I would appreciate that, because it needs to be fresh, right? So,
absolutely. I definitely will have to check it out. The Norway Bakery is one of my favorite areas, just because the treats there, they're different, but in a great way. They use a lot of combinations you might not think of. And just like, they have a sandwich there that has apples on it and nuts, and you're like, why would I ever put an apple on a sandwich? But surprisingly, it goes really, really well.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.